Good afternoon. This is Paul Quarter from Perfect Golf Event, and thanks for coming on to our webinar on sponsorships today and for being on time. So we're going to get started on time. Um, just for housekeeping notes, you don't have to copy everything down. I'll be glad to send you anything that you want after the excuse me after the webinar. So you just sit back and we'll kind of walk through the process. Again, I'm Paul with Perfect Golf Event. We help people promote their golf events, set up websites, do their contests and activities, and we like to do education because we want you to have a successful event, grow your event, and hopefully help you grow together. So this is an educational session, not an infomercial, and we're going to walk through things that we've learned over the years doing successful golf events. So again, for those who just signing on, I'm glad to send you a copy of the presentation so you don't have to copy everything down. So let's talk about why you want to make sure your sponsorship sales are going on right now. Remember, people are working on their budgets. A lot of them already finished their budgeting. So all of my events I had done in the fourth quarter. But you still want to get out there now because sponsors are planning their budgets, reviewing their budgets, and you want to make sure that you're on the list. The saddest words you're going to hear is, I wish I knew about your event earlier so we could include it in the budget. So and sponsors make their decisions much earlier than players do on a golf event. So no matter when your golf event is, I have some events that are like in October of next year, and I had the website up um, last year in the fall because I want to make sure I'm in front of everybody in their budget. So make sure you've got your website up and you're promoting your event already so people can put it on their calendar, both sponsors and players. Sponsors are being contacted with lots of events. We've had a 30% increase in the number of events this year because people can't do trivia nights and galas still because of COVID. And so they're having golf events. So you want to make sure you're out there aggressively marketing your event at this point so you're getting on their list. If you had an event before, you want to lock in your prior sponsors as soon as you can. So you want to send a personal letter out there with the date. You want to give them the option to retain the sponsorship they had in 2021. I use that as a good technique. I go back to all my sponsors and say, hey, you were the putting contest sponsor in 2021. I'm going to save that for you for 2022 because I know you liked it. Just let me know and if I can book that for you. Make sure you've got your 2022 website set up so people can register for their sponsorships. I always include a copy of the press release from 2021 so people see that, hey, how we use the funds, what we raised. I have the sponsor names in the press release so that they knew they got recognition. And I might give them an incentive to commit for next year. So I might say, hey, if you get on now, I'm going to give some team shirts for your team. If their sponsorship includes a team, I might give them VIP parking. I do anything I can to get people to commit early. In some of my events, I actually have a golf event after the event just for sponsors. So we'll have our event, say in June, and then I'll say to sponsors, hey, we're going to have a thank you event in September. You're going to be invited to it. And really, I use it as a chance to get them to commit to the following year. And you might drop by with a thank you gift if you didn't do this in the fourth quarter. Here's an event. We went out and had the kids framed a picture with thank you. We delivered that to all the big sponsors. We take them pin flags. Anything you can do. Sponsors are like gold. So you want to make sure you're out there protecting. If you have an existing event, don't lose your sponsors. Get them and also try and upgrade them to a larger sponsorship as you do. Say you had a good time last year. Why don't you move up, get some more benefits? If you haven't done a lot of my events, already have our save the dates out there. We've got our website up. So here's an example of an event that's in June. They put this out in the fourth quarter, have the details of the event, driving everybody to their website. The website's up. Sponsors can register, pay online. Again, they're using Perfect Golf Event. Hopefully you are too. But sponsors can go on and reserve their sponsorship right now. So they're locked in. So be aggressive, get yourself going. We'll talk about marketing and sponsorships in a minute. But you really want to be out there, promoting your sponsorships as you go. And again, for those of you just signing on, we'll be glad to get you the notes. You want to have the right sponsorship packages. This is really important. Again, I've been doing this 16 years, and I really stress this to make sure you've got your right sponsorship packages. Now, remember what the sponsors like. You want to raise money You're trying to raise money in exchange for giving the sponsor special recognition before, during, and after the event. The sponsors cover the cost of your event day contests and activities, and I'll show you those in a minute. And those help create an exciting environment for your golfers. The more sponsors you come in sponsoring contests like a hole-in-one contest, the more fun the players have, the more successful your event is, and everybody comes back in. When you're working with your committee, remember there's 6 categories of sponsorship. You can't just say, I want to sell $25,000 worth of sponsorships next year. You have to break it down. So there's 6 categories. Now I'm going to walk through these quickly: primary, contest, whole, barter, donation, and unique. So that when you're talking to or looking at a business, you can say, this business looks like it's large enough to be a primary sponsor, or it's a small restaurant, they're going to be better as a whole sponsor, or maybe a donation for something in my auction. So you have these categories. Now, the primary sponsors, these are the ones that have been around forever. Title, presenting, gold, silver, bronze. Some people set them up as, birdie, eagle, ace, whatever it's going to be. They have cute names for them. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, awards reception. I work on an event for Cornell University they've had for 64 years. And I guarantee you 64 years, they have had a presenting sponsor, a title sponsor. So these are kind of traditional ones that I look at on all the events that get set up. But the areas you have to improve are what I call the contest and activity ones. So you can have hole-in-one sponsors, long drive, close to pin, putting contest, shootout, $1 million shot. These are all things that you can have the sponsors come in, pay for, and then the player gets the opportunity to compete for these different contests. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone. Again, sponsors will cover the your hole-in-one contest. So here, there's an event we did in the fall of Balderstraw, and you can see we had sponsors offering a trip to Ryder Cup in Italy, going to South Africa, NFL Experience, Pebble Beach, and the sponsors cover these costs. So the players get to compete for a chance to go to the Ryder Cup with the hole-in-one. Sponsor pays for the insurance from us. You make a profit because the insurance might cost $300. You sell the sponsorship for $500 to $1,000. You make some profit. Cost is covered. Sponsor and players get a great activity. That's how it works. Sponsored putting contest, same thing. And here's other examples of contests that have been sponsored by companies that give the players a great experience, give you revenue, adds more fun to your event. Another category is pin flags. If you haven't done pin flags, it's kind of something you're missing. I sell pin flags for all my events, and they always sell out. They're not expensive. They're about $30, and then you sell them as sponsorships for anywhere from $100 to $500, and you can put a different sponsor logo on each flag. So you can have 18 different sponsors, and they're nice because people don't throw them away. You can present them to the sponsors after the event. You can have celebrities sign them. They don't save T signs, but they'll save pin flags. They'll frame them, put them in their office to show they're supporting your organization. So if you haven't added pin flags to your event, do that. You have barter sponsors. Barter sponsors are people that you can trade things for. So you can say to a sponsor, okay, if you'll give me, if you'll print my program, for example, I'll give you a sponsorship of the event. Or if you'll donate the beer and water, I'll give you a sponsorship of the event. So it saves money on your bottom line. So I call these barter sponsors. And I'm going to show you how to track them in each category in a little bit. And again, sponsors will cover the player gift cost. So here's a player gift set we did for an event where the players got 2 nice highball glasses with a golf theme, but the sponsor logo was on it. Sponsor paid for it. So the organization didn't pay anything. Sponsored players got a nice gift. Sponsor got the recognition. And then you have donation sponsors, where people will donate things that you could turn into cash. So they maybe donate things for auction, raffle, player prizes, arrival gifts. Anything that you could save on the bottom line is good because that means you're not going to spend money. In many cases, you're going to raise money because they're donating something that you could put in your auction or your raffle. And again, if you're doing an auction, we have a new package called Perfect Silent Auction. Lets you set up an auction in minutes. You can tie it to your golf event website. You can upload your own items. People can bid on them. It's really a nice tool for raising more money. And unique sponsorships, practice range, beverage, golf carts. I use cart clings at all my events. They're great. Once a sponsor becomes a cart cling sponsor and they show up and there's 72 cart clings on the carts, they come back every year because they're really impressive. You can actually put 2 sponsors on each one, which is nice, or do half the cart with one sponsor, half the cart with another. They're not expensive. They're a great sponsorship opportunity. So pin flags and cart clings are 2 areas that I see events miss. And there's some other ones. Now we have new things where you can do cart path signs. So it might be leading to a hole. You can do T markers. I do a custom scorecard for all my events with a sponsor on it. I have tents, table runners, anything I can do that I can get a sponsor logo on that I can charge for, I'll add. This is brand new one we just added. This will only work if you've got a pretty good size event, but we can bring this in now to some of our events, and it allows the sponsors to be featured on a leaderboard, and this leaderboard will post the team names, the groupings. People can pose in front of it with their teams listed before tee off. Great souvenir, rolls out. It gives a real nice professional touch to your event. So it's got some leaderboard features, but people again can pose before their team. So anyway, it's a nice feature to add. Great photo opportunity, and then people could send in photos during the event that'll post during the event and afterwards. Just brand new thing that we just added. Just remember, anything you can put a brand on can be a sponsorship. And what I find is that most events don't offer enough sponsorship. So here's a live event, and you can see they've got a title sponsor, a long drive sponsor, and a hole sponsor. Well, that's not enough. And then you look at this event that I do down in Florida, and you can see how many different sponsorships we have posted on that event in the brochure and on the website. So sit down with your committee and go through and decide, hey, you know what, we need more sponsorships. To have lots of opportunities for sponsors. That way a sponsor can find something that fits their particular budget. So make sure you've got lots. You don't sell them all, but if you don't offer them, you're not going to sell them. So I like to have lots of sponsorship opportunities. Make sure you do as well. While you're doing that, this is something I do in all my webinars. Just make sure you're putting all the sponsorships and the potential revenue onto a spreadsheet. So I plug in my prior year results, put my projections in for 2022, put my expenses in, and then I have my net figure. Then I'll go back, and if I need to raise more money, I'll look at all my sponsorships, say I might need to add more sponsorships, maybe increase them a little bit, maybe cut my expenses. But no matter what you're doing, this template is a pretty important tool for managing your event. And again, if you want more revenue, consider an online auction, because that will help as well. I won't spend time on this. I'll send this to you as well. Now, let's talk about creating sponsorship packages that sell. You want to make sure that you've got enough sizzle in your sponsorships. So you want to make sure you tell the sponsors what they're going to get before the event, what they're going to get during the event, and what they're going to get. You can't just go out to a sponsor and say, hey, give me $5,000 and I'm going to stick a logo on a banner. They're watching their money. And a lot of other organizations are contacting them. So make sure that you're out there with some real sizzle. So what you want to do is, like, for example, this is my standard sponsorships that I use for all my events. I'll change the pricing depending on the market, but I've got a lot of pages of sponsorships set up. I'll be glad to send this to you as well. But you want to make sure you've got a lot of sizzle in those sponsorships. So for the title sponsor, you know, you're going to go co-branding, gets 2 teams, a logo, reserved parking, to get the tee off on the first hole. What's really nice about some of the things is, we go back, is they don't cost anything. To give the sponsor the current cover program, or teeing off on hole number 1, or VIP parking, or VIP seating, it doesn't cost anything to you, but yet it adds more sizzle to the sponsorship. So consider adding more sizzle to your sponsorships. And I'll give you a really good example. This is a great organizer in Philadelphia, and for her title sponsor, which was expensive, she loaded it. I mean, I'm talking about loaded it. Look at it, 4 foursomes, you know, a cigar bourbon pairing event. They're going to get a cabana use during the event because they're holding on a golf course, got a pool and cabanas. They've got branding as they've got sponsored. It's just loaded. And so you have to look at your sponsorships and say, if someone competing with someone else for the title sponsor and they have a chance to be a title sponsor for this event or your event, what are they going to select if they've got limited amount of funds? So take a look at all your sponsorships and make sure you've loaded a bunch of sizzle in there. And I'll be glad to send you that spreadsheet as well. Remember, if you're using Perfect Golf Event, you can upload all the sponsor logos onto the website. And if they click on it, it'll take them right to the sponsor's website, which is another nice feature. A couple other things before we get into selling the sponsorships. We've had pretty good success doing YouTube channels. So we set up a YouTube channel, and what we do is we post videos about the event while we're raising funds. We give a tour of the golf course. We talk about the event day contests and activities. But what's really nice is that we say, okay, sponsors, you can go out there and sponsors can post videos on their business. So I pre-approve them. But if the restaurant wants to do a 30-second or 45-second video, they come onto our restaurant. Look, this is our wine cellar. Here's where our kitchen is. Here's our menu. If they're a sponsor, I'll let them post it on that YouTube channel. It's a great feature. And I'll tell you what, if you do this, excuse me, and you're going to hear this today, you'll be in the top 1% of all the events in America, because very few people, I've been telling people to do this for 2 years, and people just don't do it. And I don't know why, because it's a great sponsor feature. This is another great sponsor feature. At your event, set up a display sampling area. It's a great sponsorship package. So you set up an area when the players come up to the event, they have plenty of time before they tee off. So I let some of the restaurants, wine stores, bourbon tasting, people with spas want to do a 5-minute massage. I set up an area where sponsors can promote, like a mini trade show, their events. And the sponsors love this. And they give people incentives, say, hey, here's a little sampling of what's at my restaurant. And by the way, here's a coupon to come in for a free appetizer. You got to work with the sponsors to give players good experience, but you're trying to build business for the sponsors. The more you can put into it, the more people are going to come and sponsor your event. That's just the magic. Give them stuff. Give them the reason. So I even have some of my sponsors offering take-home packages. So they come to buy, the restaurant's there during tee-off. They said, hey, after the event, would you like to take something home for your family? I've got some couple take-home packages, and I'll have it ready for you. We'll go back to the restaurant. When you come off, I'll have some take-home packages. Maybe it's cakes or pies, something that they can reheat, whatever it is. Let's be creative out there, and let's energize our events. Remember, sponsors provide revenue. They sponsor contests. They'll bring a guest who will learn more about your event and your organization. So bring somebody who maybe didn't knows much about the organization and might becomes make more about your organization, maybe support you in other ways. And sponsors can not only be a sponsor, but they can also contribute to your auction and your raffle. I allow sponsors to post some offers on my website. So if they want to offer, hey, come, I'm promoting this event. If you come in and mention the event, I'm going to give you a chance to get a discount. My BMW dealer gives them $1,000 off, the best price negotiated. I've had restaurants giving certificates. I have auto dealers giving free tire rotation. Whatever it is, it's all about driving business to your sponsors. So they'll say that was worthwhile. I'm going to come back next year. Now, people always ask me, how do we identify potential sponsors? Well, this is a really important topic, obviously, how to find sponsors. What you're trying to do is build your potential sponsor list. I'm talking about those categories before. You want to have a spreadsheet that's got potential sponsors, primary, contest, little hole and pin flag, barter, donation, unique. So you're trying to identify people. Now, if you've had an event before, you can plug in the ones that you've had before. It's a new event, you're starting from scratch, but you want to build a spreadsheet that's got all these potential people. So you might say, okay, Commerce Bank, they're going to be a potential primary sponsor, and here's in our committee who's monitoring. If it's a restaurant with 12 tables, maybe they're a donation potential. So you put them there. And it's an ongoing process. I work on these all year. Even after my event is over, I'll see new businesses in the market, and I'll say, okay, I'm going to add it to my list for next year. So this is kind of a living and breathing animal. When I go after sponsors, I put them in three tiers. Tier one is the hottest ones. Committee member referrals, prior sponsors of your golf event or other activities like prior trivia nights or galas. Vendors, anybody who gives you money or you spend money with, they've got to have money in their budget for you. So if you write a check to them, you're going to go after them. And maybe it's somebody who's received a benefit or knows somebody who received a benefit from your organization. These are all tier 1 prospects for sponsorships. Tier 2 is local businesses who have the objective of growing their business. Could be local business looking to reconnect with their clients because of COVID. I'll talk about community directories in a minute. I ask my sponsors and players for referrals, and I Google local marketing and advertising clubs so I can find out who the business leaders are in my community so I can contact them and say, hey, I know you're marketing for this company. Let me tell you how my golf event can help bring business to you. And then the last one is just going out and do internet research, search for new businesses in your area, or look for businesses doing local advertising like a Valpak. And you'll say, oh, if you're in Valpak, let me tell you how you can get more direct response by coming right into a golf event with a large number of people. So that's all important stuff to be able to sit those tiers up. So, and again, for you, those of you, somebody's already asking, for those of you who are late, I'll be glad to send you a copy of the presentation. Just email support@Perfect Golf Event. Again, when you're going out you want to start with your committee. Each committee member is asked to provide a list of sponsors. That's how I work with my committees. And if they say, yeah, I know somebody at Commerce Bank, then I'll say, great, can you set up an appointment and come with us on the call? So use your committee members to get the process started. You want to set some target goals for each committee member. Say, hey, let's all try to bring in 3 sponsors. Let's try and bring in 3 teams. You're not going to press them because they're volunteers, but you're going to try and get them involved. I focus on what I call 3, 3, and 3 challenge. I mean, I tell my committee members, let's all try and contact 3 potential sponsors, 3 potential teams, and do 3 posts on our social media accounts each week if we can to build momentum for our event. And if you're going to do that, give them some different posts that they can put out there so they're not just always going out like, oh, there's going to be a golf event on June 25th. Come join us. Have them say, hey, come out on June 25th. Somebody's going to take a shot for $1 million. Or come out on June 25th. We got a hole-in-one contest for a trip to the Ryder Cup. So give them some ideas with the post. But if I put it this way, it's easy. They could do 3 contacts excuse me, to their database for sponsors, teams, and social media and do it in 10 minutes. And I just say, please, I call it the 333 challenge because I'm not that creative and I'll come up with a better name at some point, but that's how I do it. Just break it down to small tasks. And again, you want to put this all in a spreadsheet, and I'll be glad to send you the spreadsheet later on if you want to use it. The company, the contact, the phone, the email, who are the committee members following it, and what's the status. I use community directories. I live in St. Louis and some of the towns nearby, like Clayton. They're helpful enough to give me a directory. It's like 54 pages of every business in Clayton by category with their contact information. Thank you. Saves me a lot of time. They also have it online. So check your local cities, like Google, online business directory, in Peoria or wherever you are. Again, what you're trying to do is identify people who are potential people and put them on that spreadsheet so you guys can start following up with them. And then when I have that list, again, I take them through my committee and say, who knows somebody at that restaurant? Who knows somebody at that auto dealer, that architectural firm, or that law firm, whatever it is, and we're going to put those onto my spreadsheet, kind of run through that filter. To give you a good example, here's an event that I worked with in St. Louis. They had a gala every year. That was their sole fundraiser, and they didn't want to get their gala sponsors moving to the golf event, so they wanted to go out new. So they went with 300 packages together. They run the research, followed the research I just told you by building a list. Then they went out to 300 businesses. They mailed them a letter from the executive director of the organization, tell them what the details of the event was about, how the funds would be used. They had a brochure on their organization. This was an early child development center. A sponsor listing, sponsorships listing with a link to their website. They got 41 new sponsors for their organization. They got a title sponsor and hole and pin flag sponsors. What a great success. And they started with 0. So when people tell me they can't do it, I say, yeah, you can. You just got to take it one step at a time and build your momentum. Remember, what do sponsors want? And this will lead into how to close the deal. They want to get new business from the players. They want to get new business from everybody else at the event. I always remind people it's not just 140 golfers, but I've got volunteers, I got guests, I got committee members, I got staff, I got other sponsors. I might have 200 people there, all are potential businesses for you. They want to solidify the relationship with their clients. Have a great day. That's why you want your event to be special, well organized, with lots of contests and activities. So a business person's clients will say, hey, Jim, that was really a great suit. Thank you very much. That was a great day. Let's do this next year. Let's keep doing business together. Sometimes they do it for community support. And a lot of times it's basically because they were asked by somebody on the committee who said, hey, we do a lot of business together. Support my event. But it's good to kind of know some of the reasons why and kind of dig into it with potential sponsors. Which leads us into selling sponsorships. If you do this, again, you're in the top 1% of all the sponsors out there. Have someone train your group. Bring someone in. There's going to be a woman or a man that you know around that's a great salesperson. Have them come in and talk to your group about how to present sales. Remember, your committee has operational people, tech people, financial people. They're not comfortable selling necessarily. So you want them to come in and train them. Focus on the key points of selling. The main thing is have an objective. Why are you calling this person? I want to talk to you about my golf event because I think it'd be a great opportunity here to be the putting contest sponsor, whatever it is. Have an objective. Have an alternative. Think there's a couple of things you could be doing. It could be the putting contest, or maybe because of your business, it'd be perfect for you to be the lunch sponsor, whatever. But the most important thing, teach them to ask open-ended questions. You can't call someone up or visit someone and say, would you like to be a sponsor of my golf event? And then the person says no. Well, where do you go? You know, a finance person's going to get stuck there. You have to teach them how to say, you know, tell me a little bit about how you decide where you're going to put your marketing dollars. And the person will say, you know what we try and do is look for opportunities this year to reconnect with the clients that we lost during COVID and grow our new business by 15%. Okay, they just handed you the tools to close the deal. You just go back to them. Wow, this is great. We have a golf event. I think it's a perfect opportunity to not only reconnect with your clients, but also to meet some new potential clients. Let me tell you a little bit about it. So listen, give them some response, establish follow-up steps. Hey, if they want to see some testimonials, they want to see the website link, whatever it's going to be, and then follow up. But just get someone in to teach your people a little bit so they're comfortable going out there. I prepare a one-sheeter for the people to have that kind of gives them a summary of everything about the event so they're comfortable. If someone says, hey, where is it? What's the golf course? Where are the people coming from? How many people are going to be there? What kind of contests are there? They can get excited about the event. So you got to come out. It's going to be a great event. Look, there's 10 golfers who are going to shoot for $1 million. A lot of people are going to be there. So give them the tools to go out and sell these sponsorships. Sometimes I'll do a preview day where I'll go out to the golf course or even at our organization, and I'll have a speaker come in. And the speaker may not be anything with the golf event, just might be a good topical speaker. And I'll ask my committee members, bring some people to the presentation. I think it's going to be interesting. And then while they're there, we're going to talk about the golf event. Say, hey, if you like what we're doing, maybe you want to help us support the golf event. It's a good way to jumpstart your event. I did 4 of these last year in different markets where I actually went out and we hired a speaker that had a good topic. It was on social media. It was on, like, I had somebody from the local bank come in on refinancing. I had somebody come in to talk about organizational structures. And I invited local businesses to come in and say, hey, this is being sponsored by the Backstoppers golf event. But come out, somebody's going to talk to you about social media tips for a small business. People came out. And then we said, hey, thanks for coming out. Hope you found it useful. And by the way, we sponsored because we want you to know we have a golf event coming up. And this may be another way for you to get new business. So think outside the box. Think of creative ways to get your message out there. Do a press release. It's a great way to close the deal. Make your event look professional. Talk about your event. Show the sponsors they're going to be named in the press release. Some of my people use a sponsorship agreement. I don't execute very many of them, but I have it in case somebody asks for it. Again, it makes it look like we're a professional organization. We're not just going to be loosey-goosey with the money. Make sure you've got your website set up. Hopefully you're using Perfect Golf Event. It allows you to put up sponsor logos, put up all your sponsorships. Sponsors can register online. You can capture the information they want on their signage. All those things are there. So it's a great tool. You can set up a website for free. Again, we'll also give you social media images that you can post because Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram have different size requirements. So if you need social media images, we'll provide them for anybody using Perfect Golf Event. Here's another thing. If you do this, you're in the top half 1%. Get testimonials. Ask people who have sponsored your event before, why are you coming back? If you can get someone to say, I'm coming back because I got a lot of new business last year, and the person says, and so-and-so restaurant or so-and-so bank, wow, put that on your website. Put that in your brochure. Testimonials are a great way to get people confidence that your event's effective. Why wouldn't you use it? Put everything on a marketing calendar so you know what you're doing to promote your sponsorships. Have your committee review it. Make sure you've got something going on all the time. You want to measure and report your results. I do it every Monday morning. I tell people where do we stand versus our goal, how many new sponsors that came on. I also recognize everybody. This is real important. All your people are volunteers, most part, except for staff. Make sure you say, because I know some people, I have one committee where I have some people that are really, really wealthy, but they love to compete. They compete with other people on the committee to bring in sponsors. So I recognize, I said, Sue, thanks for bringing a sponsor. Bill, here's a cake. Thanks for bringing in most sponsors last week. Keep people motivated, recognize them, thank them. Let's have a lot of fun as we're promoting this event. Don't make it a drudge or dredge, whatever it is, whatever the word. Again, I know I went quickly. I always do, so you don't have to put in any kind of reviews. Paul went too fast. I'll be glad to send you the copy of the presentation. Anything you need from the presentation, just email me or email support at Perfect Golf Event. They'll get it out today or tomorrow. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If there's something we can help you with, let us know. And otherwise, let's have a great event in 2022. Thanks for listening.